One of the most obvious changes to the new Windows 7 operating system is to be found with the Windows Taskbar. You see, over the last, well, pretty much ever since Windows has been around, we've not seen a lot of changes to the way our taskbar works. But straight away in Windows 7, you're going to notice that we still have the Vista-style Start All, but we've no longer got the Quick Launch area down in our taskbar. Now, for those of you who don't know what the Quick Launch area is, it was this little spot just to the right-hand side of the Start button, where you could store a few small icons, or a lot of icons, and have your favorite programs listed there for easy access. Now, for those of you that love the Quick Launch area, and I'd count myself amongst you, you might be chomping at the bit to get it back. Well, let me just say, even though I loved and used the Quick Launch a lot, in Windows 7, I certainly don't miss it. Okay, for about an hour, I might have missed it, but really, once you get the hang of this new taskbar, you'll soon forget why you even liked the old one. So our new Windows 7 taskbar not only sports this new, flat, modern look, but it's also going to change the way you work. So in a default installation of Windows 7, which is what I have here, we've already got 3 icons stuck on our taskbar. We've got Internet Explorer version 8, Windows Explorer, and Windows Media Player. Now, I mentioned that the Quick Launch is gone, but in a roundabout way, this whole taskbar, the whole thing, is kind of like a big Quick Launch. You see, these icons that are stuck here, just like icons in a Quick Launch area, and each icon here up to the first 5 that you might have can be activated using the mouse or keyboard shortcuts. So if you were to hold down the Windows key on your keyboard and hit the numbers 1, 2, or 3, in my case, since I've only got 3 icons here at the moment, Windows is going to launch that application. So for me, pressing the Windows key on my keyboard plus the number 1, that's going to launch Internet Explorer. The Windows key plus the number 2 will launch Windows Explorer, and Windows 3 is going to launch Windows Media Player. Now, these icons here are also movable, so we could drag our Windows Media Player icon over to the left. Let's go right to the left here. And now it's going to take on the keyboard shortcut of Windows 1. IE's got Windows 2, and Explorer has Windows 3. Now, you're also going to note that these icons themselves are different than we're used to seeing. We've got a much larger icon as opposed to a small icon you'd expect to see in the Quick Launch area. Now, when we run an application, it also doesn't put a large rectangular box over here on our taskbar to represent the application in the way that previous versions of Windows would. So if we launch an application, and let's just launch Windows Explorer here, you're going to see our flat icon over here change to show this raised box around it. So we can visually use this raised box to identify that Windows Explorer is running. On the other hand, we've got IE and Windows Media Player still have that flat, translucent look about them, and so we can instantly tell that they're not running. Now, if we open multiple copies of this same application, this raised box is going to change. Now, note the right-hand side of this box here, we've got this single right-hand line, showing us that we now have 2 copies of Windows Explorer open. If we open up another copy, you'll see that changes to 3. Now, if you open up more than 3, it's still going to stay with these 3 lines no matter how many I open, just to give us a visual cue that we do have at least 3 or more copies of the same application running. Now, if we go and hover our mouse over our Windows Explorer icon, we're going to get this live pop-up showing us a thumbnail view of each of our open applications. In fact, let's just stop this and we will demonstrate this using Internet Explorer, as visually it's a little bit easier to see what I'm talking about. So we'll click on the Internet Explorer icon, and immediately you can see that this gives our Internet Explorer icon here that raised 3-dimensional look, so you know that you've got IE loaded. Let's open up a couple more copies of IE as well. In fact, let's open up 4 copies. And what we'll do is we'll change this. We're going to go to Yahoo on one of them. Let's go to Google on another. And let's go to Bing on the final one. All right, so we've got 4 copies of Internet Explorer open and 4 different websites loaded into each. Now, if we go and hover our mouse here over the Internet Explorer icon, you can see visually straight away that we have 4 different sites loaded into each copy of Internet Explorer. And if we move our mouse over each thumbnail, IE is going to change its view and switch between the open windows. Now, if we find one that we really like, we only need to select it, and that's going to bring it to the front so we can start using that window. Now, these thumbnails also offer a live preview as well. So if you happen to have Windows Aero running, you can even see video or games in these thumbnails. So if you've got a game running or Windows Media Players running a video, you hover your mouse over these icons and that's going to show you this mini thumbnail of whatever that application is currently doing. Now, where this new taskbar really speeds things up for you, and this is probably where it can initially provide the most confusion, is that each icon in our taskbar can not only represent a running application, but it can also represent one that's not running. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize all of these windows here right now, and we can do that by clicking this little block here in the far bottom right corner. This is the same as the old show the desktop icon we used to have in the quick launch area. Now, in older versions of Windows, if you clicked on Start and you ran, say, the Windows Calculator, let's run that one, you'd expect to see the Windows Calculator icon appear in the taskbar just like you do here. When you close the application, the icon disappears from the taskbar just like you used to. But if we click Start again, and this time we're going to right-click on our calculator, and we're going to choose to pin it to the taskbar. Okay, well, there it is. It's on the taskbar, and it's showing in the not launch state with that flat, translucent icon. So let's click Start again, and let's right-click on Paint, and we'll choose to pin that to the taskbar as well. And let's right-click on Sticky Notes, and we'll pin that to our taskbar. And one more, let's right-click on the Snipping tool, and we'll pin it to our taskbar as well. All right, now this time we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 icons on our taskbar. And even though we're running Windows 7 in a pretty small resolution window here, we've still got quite a lot of room for some more icons. But if that's not enough room for you, we can right-click on our taskbar, we can choose Properties, and then we'll check this box here to use small icons. And for now, I'll click Apply. And our icons have changed to their smaller variants, obviously giving us a lot more room. Right, let's uncheck this and we'll click OK to bring it back the way it was. Now you can also pin other icons to our taskbar as well. And you're not just limited to these application icons we've just seen. As long as there's a default application listed for a type of file, you can pin it to the taskbar. So to demonstrate that, let's right-click here on our desktop, and we're going to choose New, and let's create a new bitmap image. Now I'm going to right-click on this icon, and we'll choose to open it with, and we'll choose the default program, and I'm going to make that Paint, and click OK. All right, well, there's our image opened in Paint. Let's just scribble all over it here so we can identify this icon, and we'll close it, and we'll click Save. Now if we select our image icon, and we drag it over to our taskbar, we get this message here, this little shortcut telling us that doing this action, if we drop it here, is going to pin this file to our Paint application. So if we let go of the mouse, the Paint icon has produced this little pop-up window where our new bitmap image has been pinned to the Paint icon. These pinned items gives us really fast access to frequently used files and folders, and once you get the hang of using these, you're going to love how quickly they help you find and load the things you want the most. So let's just click away from here to view that pop-up list, which Microsoft call jump lists. We're going to right-click on our icon. Right-clicking is going to pop up the list that's associated with the icon, and all of the icons that you see here are going to have at least two items. If we right-click another, you're going to see we've got an option to launch the application and to unpin it or remove the icon from our taskbar. Now, if the icon does support it, you're going to see additional pinned items above that. So let's right-click on our image or our Paint application again, and we can see that our image file has been pinned to the list. Now, if you do hover your mouse over that bitmap image link, you'll see a quick shortcut appear telling us where the file is actually located. And on the right here, we've got this pin icon, which will allow us to unpin or remove this item from the jump list. Now, if we right-click this item in our jump list, we can then choose to edit it in this case. We can print this file, we can copy it, and we can open up the properties of this file. And those are the same properties we'd see if we just right-clicked on any file in Windows Explorer and chose properties. So for this image here, if we were to choose edit, that's going to open up the application. In this case, it's going to open up Paint and load this image for us. And you'll note that this time, since we've got our application open, we've got a copy of Paint open, this time we're presented with a third option of closing the application. Now, depending on which icon in our taskbar we right-click on, we're going to see some different options in these jump lists. If we right-click on Windows Media Player, we're going to see things once we first launch Windows Media Player, of course. We're going to see that we're going to have the ability to play our music, and we can resume previous lists. If we right-click on Internet Explorer, let's just close that. We're going to get a running list of the last 10 websites that we've visited. Now, in the case of Internet Explorer, this frequently used list here. The icons, they're going to rapidly be replaced as we visit new websites. But if you do have a favorite website, let's say Google for argument's sake, we could right-click on it and choose to pin it to this list. Or alternatively, I just opened that unfortunately, we could click the little pin icon here to the right. Now, once we do that, you can see in the top section, this pinned section, Google then appears at the top. And to launch a new copy of Google, all we need to do is right-click on Internet Explorer and then choose Google from the list. So to recap, if we left-click on any of these icons in our taskbar, that's going to open up the application. However, if we left-click an application that's already open, that's just going to show us the thumbnails for each of our open files. Now, if we want a second copy of the application open, then you can hold down Shift and left-click the icon, and that's going to open up a new copy. Or if we right-click, that'll open up the jump list that gives us more options that are in many cases tailored to the application itself. You'll see the basic open, so we can open a new copy of Internet Explorer using this option. We can unpin it, we can close all of the windows that we have open. And do take note though that if there is an application that you're using that isn't yet pinned to the taskbar and you do want to pin it, you'll have the option to do that. So let's test that. We'll go and click Start and we'll open up a copy of Notepad. We can see that gives us our Notepad icon in our taskbar. Now, if we right-click on it, we've now got the ability to pin it here as well. So let's do that. Now, if we go and close Notepad, the icon stays and we can move it around the taskbar as we see fit. So these jump lists really are cool, and once you start using them, they really do make things a whole lot faster. One of the things that I like to do is use folders and have them appear in my Windows Explorer jump lists. You see, as part of my day-to-day work, I'm often using documents and files that we have stored on remote shares. So if I go and quickly open up Windows Explorer, we've got a few copies here. In most cases, for me to get to the documents that I work with on a day-to-day basis, it's about 6 mouse clicks away each time to open up the folder structure that I want. But by creating a targeted jump list, it's now only 2 clicks away. So if we go to Windows Explorer, we're here now. Let's just go to a random folder. We'll go to our C drive, Program Files, Internet Explorer. Let's go to ENUS, and let's just say it's this folder here that I happen to be using on a day-to-day basis. Let's just assume this is my Documents folder on a remote share. So what I can do is I can drag and drop this folder onto our taskbar, just like we did with the image file earlier, and that's going to pin it to Windows Explorer. So let's do that. So now what's going to happen, when I fire up this Windows 7 PC in the morning, all I need to do is right-click on Windows Explorer, and choose My Folder, and there it is. It opens up Windows Explorer right at the spot that I want. Now that's a big time saver there, and you can have all of your favorite spots and your favorite documents pinned to any application that supports it. So if you have a frequently used Excel spreadsheet or Word document, you can pin those files to those applications. These jump lists, they're really good, and they're going to save you a lot of time once you get the hang of them. Now on the subject of jump lists, they can also be found on the Start menu as well if the application supports them. So if we go and click Start, you'll see at the very top we've got this Getting Started icon. And to the right of it, you're going to see it has this little arrow. Now, like any normal icon on your Start menu, if we left click on it, it's going to fire up the application. But for those applications that support jump lists, hovering your mouse over the application for a moment, it expands the jump list. And we can see all of the items in that list. Now, if you're done with this jump list, simply click the arrow again, and that's going to contract that feature. Now you're going to find applications like Word supports this feature, even things like Remote Desktop Connection Tool, that supports it. And it's going to give you this little arrow on the right-hand side, hover your mouse over it, and that's going to expand out the list and give you access to your most frequently used documents or files. Now you'll also find that the taskbar and the Start menu, they're both on the same wavelength as well. If we locate Windows Explorer in our Start menu, there it is, and we right-click on it, you'll notice that it's obviously already been pinned to our taskbar, and on the Start menu, we can choose to pin it there as well. So let's select that, and we'll go back to the top, and you'll see here we've got a jump list for Windows Explorer. You're also going to note that this jump list contains the same items that our taskbar does as well. So it's very flexible, and you can work the way you prefer, and you can still have the benefit of using these jump lists. Now, another thing I should point out is that in Windows Vista, you could click Start, and then you could right-click on an application, and you could choose to run it as an administrator with elevated permissions, which was sometimes required in order to make system changes. Now, you could also click Start. You could type in the name of the application, and then hold down Control and hit Enter, and that would launch the application with elevated permissions. Now in Windows 7, you can still do both of those things, but for icons that you have here in your taskbar, if you want to launch any of them with elevated permissions, simply hold down the Control key and the Shift key, and then left click on the icon, and it's going to run it with elevated permissions, as you can see. So if we go and click on Start, and let's type in CMD. Now up the top here, we can right click on our command prompt icon in the Start menu. We can choose to pin that to our taskbar. Now we can left click on the icon to launch it. If we shift left click, that'll open up another copy. But if we hold down Control and Shift and then left click, that's going to open up another copy. But this time it is going to be an elevated command prompt. So there's your three differences. So now if we just left click on our icon here, you can see the three open windows that we have. We can cycle through them by hovering our mouse over them. And if we no longer need one of these windows to be open, we can click the little red X icon in the top right corner and close a copy of the application that we don't need. Okay, so now we have two. Our other option here is to right click on our stack of icons and choose to close them all. Really easy. Now, the other really cool thing about the taskbar, admittedly, isn't something that I ever use because I like to leave the taskbar where it is at the bottom of the screen. But for some of you, you like to have your taskbar at the top of the screen or at the sides. The issue with the older style taskbar is that even though Microsoft allowed you to move it, it was designed to be ran horizontal, not vertically. This new taskbar has been designed to be flexible, and you can move it and everything else should remain the same. So to move this taskbar, the first thing we're going to have to do is to unlock it. If you right click on it and select, you can see it's checked here, lock the taskbar, that's going to unlock it. Now we can simply click in a clear spot and then drag it to another side of the screen, and it's going to dock there. Now, wherever we decide to move it, let's just drop it here on the right-hand side, you're going to notice that all of our icons, they're all in proportion. There's no funny business. Everything sits nicely together. Now, another thing that some of you like to do is to auto-hide the taskbar, and you can still do that in Windows 7. If we right-click on our taskbar and choose Properties, We're able, of course, to lock the taskbar. We can auto-hide the taskbar so it disappears when we're not using it. And we can use small icons, which we saw earlier. Now, we can also change the location of the taskbar here as well. We saw how to do that a moment ago, but we can set it from here to the bottom, the left, the right, the top. We could also customize our taskbar buttons as well. And if you want to go back to the old way of doing things, you see at the moment the default is to combine all of the applications we're using into one single icon on the taskbar, and then not to show the name of the applications, but we can choose to combine them only when the taskbar is full. And if we select that and then just click apply, you'll see that only the open applications revert to that big fat old regular button. Now, if we change this to never combine and click apply there, you're going to see that each application, each open application has been given its own spot, if you like, on our taskbar. And that's okay if you really only have a few applications open, but when you're dealing with a small screen like I have here and a whole bunch of open applications, this thing gets really messy. Now, for me, I'll go with the default, the new way of doing things, as at least in my opinion, it's easily the best option available. All right, well, let's now right-click on our Start button, and we'll choose Properties, and we'll go back to our Taskbar tab. And here in the notification area, we've got the ability to customize our notification area, which is this area over here in the right-hand side of our taskbar. And that's going to show us things like icons, which are going to have our networking options, our sound options, and any other applications that need to tell us something. So let's click on the Customize button, and this is going to bring up a new window that allows us to choose what icons we're going to see down here in that system area, in that notification area. Now, you can choose from our network icons, our Windows volume, the Action Center, and our Windows Task Manager. So with any of these icons, we can choose to show the icon and any associated notifications that it may bring. We could hide the icon and the notifications if we're not at all concerned about seeing them, or only show the notifications and not the icon itself. Now, for any system icons, such as our clock down here, if you want to get rid of that or turn it back on, if you've got it turned off, we'll choose Turn System Icons On or Off. And here you'll see what the current behavior is. So with our clock, it's currently on. If we choose it to be off, there you go, our clock is gone. All right, well, let's just bring that back for now. We'll click OK, and OK, we'll go back here to our Taskbar and Start Menu Properties window. And you'll see that down the bottom here, our last option is to use Aero Peak to preview our desktop. Now, if we hover our mouse over this Show Desktop button, but we don't click it, you can see that it makes all of our windows disappear, but it does leave this translucent outline of each window. So you can see what's on the desktop without actually minimizing all of the windows. That's Aero Peak. So if you don't want that option, simply uncheck this box. Right, now on our next tab, our Start Menu tab, we can choose to store and display recently opened programs in our Start menu, something that we've done since Windows XP, so that's not changed. What that's going to do is just make sure that when you click Start and the Start menu pops up, it's going to show you your most recently used programs. Now, we can also choose to store and display recently opened items in the Start menu and the taskbar, and this simply is going to show your jump lists. In fact, there's a little tip for you. If you want to clear all of your jump lists, let's just show you our jump list we've got here with these 3 items in it. If you want to clear that, simply check this box or uncheck this box, click Apply. Our jump list is no longer being displayed. If we select it again and click Apply, and we'll go back to Internet Explorer and view our jump list again, you can see it's been cleared completely. Now at the top here, if we click the Customized button, we can further configure how we want our Start menu to act and what icons we want to display. And again, nothing really different to Windows XP or Vista here, perhaps with the option right down the bottom here to set how many recent items we want to display in our jump list. You can see it defaults to 10, but you can change that anywhere up to 60. Now, our final tab is, if we click Cancel and go back to our tabs, is the Toolbars tab, where we can choose to show additional items on our toolbar. We can have an address bar, Internet Explorer links a tablet PC input panel and the desktop as well. Now, none of these things I like to use, but occasionally I run across somebody who does like to use them. So for that person, these things are still there. So maybe by now it's clear to you that the new taskbar is one of the best things to happen to Windows 7. I really like it that much. Sure, it took a little getting used to, but I really hate using the old style taskbar now. This one has grown on me that much. But for those of you that missed that old quick launch area that we talked about at the start of this video, and you simply have to get it back at all costs, here's how you can get it back. Firstly, we'll need to open up a copy of Windows Explorer, and we'll go to our C drive, the users folder, and then your account, which is the trainer account in my case. So let's double click on that. Now, since the folder that we need here is a hidden folder, we're going to go up to the address bar, and rather than turning hidden folders on, I'm just simply going to type in the path of app data, and we'll hit enter, and we'll go to the roaming folder, Microsoft, Internet Explorer, and then quick launch. Now at the top here, I'm going to click in the address bar here and highlight this entire path. We'll right click and choose copy. Now I'm going to right click on my taskbar and choose toolbars, and down the bottom I'm going to choose a new toolbar, and right down the bottom here in the folder field I'm going to right click and choose paste, and that's going to paste in the path to the quick launch area. And what I'm going to do now is go right to the front of this path where you see the C users trainer, and I'm going to replace that with %user profile %, and now I'll click select folder. And of course that didn't work because I didn't delete our C:\\. So let's go right back to the front. We'll delete that of course and click select folder. All right, and our quick launch has now appeared. All right, so here it is. Here's our quick launch, but you can see it's all bunched up and it's all messy. So what we're going to do is we're first going to right click on the text here, quick launch, and we're going to choose to get rid of the text by unchecking this box here, show text. We're also going to do that for show title. And now we're left with the quick launch that you're used to. So finally, if you want it back over here on the left-hand side of our taskbar, we just need to pick it up and drag it all the way over here to the left. Now we'll need to grab our other section of our taskbar and drag that over as well. And everything should be back the way you used to like it. Now, like I said though, I really don't have any need for doing this sort of thing anymore because I now have the ability to pin anything I like to my taskbar with the new way of doing things in Windows 7. This quick launch here is now redundant as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to get rid of it by right-clicking on my taskbar, choosing Toolbars, and I'm going to select Quick Launch, and it's gone. Okay, well in this video we've taken a look at the new taskbar in Windows 7. When people ask what I really like about Windows 7 and I say the taskbar, they kind of look at me a little strangely, but now that you've seen it and probably used it, I think you guys understand why I like it so much. Now, I don't know if I'd go as far as to say it's worth the purchase price of Windows 7 just to have this new taskbar. But once you're used to it, it makes life so much easier and you're going to hate going back to the older operating systems. Now, some of you are going to hate the changes to the taskbar though, and although you can change some of the things to bring it back to the old taskbar, I'd encourage you not to do that. Give it a go, and like me, you'll probably find that once you get used to it, it really does make things much faster and much more enjoyable. So we hope you've enjoyed this video, and would like to thank you for watching.